operating and some of that stuff. So it'll be a very simple conversation.
Sure. Do you mind if I ask you, can I ask you any questions ahead? I'm curious, what prompted you to, how'd you come about, Empower, and, have you been talking to, who have you been talking to? And
yeah, I cover, I don't know, I think you're in the DC area, right?
Yeah, we're in McLean, Virginia, just outside DC.
Right, so I cover transportation. I've covered transportation here for a long time. And, people are always telling me this and that and, things that we should check out. And Empower came up because not only are you guys, I'll be completely honest with you, not only are you guys, this alternative to Uber, Lyft, and now Alto, but I guess there's also some backstory between you guys in the district and a fight that's going on between you guys about, operating in the city.
Sure.
So we wanted to get some more clarity on that and some more details about that as well.
Sure.
So if you're comfortable doing that, we can roll.
Yeah, of course.
Okay. So Josh, for the record, let me just get your full name and title here so we can set a level on your voice and get everything set up.
Sure. I'm Joshua Sear. I'm the founder and CEO of Empower.
So I guess let's just start here. Was Empower was it like a spin-off of Uber? Did you always have this idea? Kind of tell me how it kind of came to creation, where in the rideshare process that it came to creation.
Yeah, sure. So back in, I guess, end of 2018, I used to use Uber and Lyft a decent amount, and I would talk to drivers pretty regularly. I'm kind of chatty, and I'd ask them, how they like driving for Uber or Lyft, and I was constantly hearing that they were just getting hammered financially, that they couldn't make a sustainable living, particularly those drivers driving full-time or near full-time, and that also they felt voiceless, that they didn't matter to those companies, that they didn't feel like they were customers or partners. And that sort of resonated with me, and it got me thinking and realizing, well, they're not the customer for Uber and Lyft. And so maybe that has something to do with the reason why they don't feel like they're being treated like a customer. And so, I started thinking more and more about what would a business look like where the drivers actually were the customer. What would it look like where it was an actual software business as opposed to actually a transportation business like Uber and Lyft are? I don't know. I had just booked dinner the night before, sort of coming up with this using OpenTable, and maybe that was in the back of my mind. And I was actually in New York, in the back of a Lyft, headed to the airport, and I sort of had an aha moment and asked the driver, if you could set your own rates and you got 100% of the fare, would you be willing to pay a subscription fee? And the driver was really excited about it, and we started talking more, and I went home and did some research and realized nobody was really pursuing this model, and that was the beginning.
So drivers, they pay, what's the fee that they pay to you? That's how you guys make money, right? So you're just basically, you're an app, they pay in, and then they get the benefits of this app.
Yeah. So the how much they pay, it depends. We have a few different plans, and the price has gone up over time as drivers have been able to get more and more value out of the software and services that we provide. In the DC market, there's three different options. There's what we call Empower Monthly Platinum, which is $350 a month. There's a Empower Daily option, which is $25 a day. And then there's a plan, Empower Monthly Flex, which provides drivers who maybe aren't sure about how much they're going to drive in a given month, or maybe don't want to pay a full $350 up front at the beginning of a subscription period, some flexibility to effectively pay in $50 increments.
Gotcha. So why then, what's up with the back and forth between the district and, registering the app? They're saying that Uber and Lyft and Alto, they've all registered with the city, but they claim that they've been fighting with you guys since the beginning. I mean, much like Uber was in a fight at the beginning, right? But they claim that they've been fighting with you guys since the beginning. What's the reason why you guys haven't registered with the city?
Yeah, I mean, the same reason that Expedia doesn't register with the FAA, or that, OpenTable doesn't register with the local health inspectors. We don't provide any transportation services. Uber and Lyft and Alto all do. Their customer is the rider. They set rates, they collect money from riders, and they pay drivers who are providing rides to riders on behalf of Uber, Lyft, and Alto. With Empower, that's not at all the case. We don't have any drivers. We don't pay drivers. Drivers work for themselves. They set their own rates. They get 100% of the fare, and they pay us for our software and support services that they use to build and run their own businesses. We don't make a penny from riders, as you mentioned before. And so, that's the reason why we're not registering as a transportation provider.
In other words, you're software, you're not transportation.
Correct. I mean, and Uber of course says the same thing. Uber and Lyft have always said we're software companies. But just because you have an app doesn't make you a software company, right? Nike has an app that helps them sell shoes and apparel, but that doesn't make Nike a software company. They're still a shoe and apparel company. Uber and Lyft and Alto, they all have apps that help them sell their transportation services to riders. That's not what Empower's business is. Our business is providing software and support services to drivers who wish to provide their services to end user consumers, to riders.
Well, I talked to the DC Department of For-Hire Vehicles today. They say that they sent you a cease and desist order. I know you guys are appealing that, and they say that they'll impound any vehicle that they find where a driver is driving for Empower. Now, I went downtown today. I don't want you to be caught off guard by this report. I went downtown today. I used your app. The driver came. I talked to him a little bit, and then he drove away, because I'm a news crew, right? So that's kind of a little bit intimidating. But what about that? What about the fact that you are that they say that they sent you the cease and desist order?
So 2 days. So they became aware of our existence on November 13th, 2020, and that was a Friday. And on Monday, they determined the following Monday they sent us a cease and desist without knowing anything about our business. And since that time, over the last 3 years, drivers using Empower, thousands of drivers using Empower, have provided over 4 million rides to over 200,000 riders in the district, have earned over $65 million. They've kept 100% of the fare, and they're currently providing nearly 200,000 rides per month in the DC area. Now, we've made very clear that we'd love to work with the DFHV, but they're funded by Uber, and they've decided that they want to take a different approach. And we continue to support drivers, and I wish that they would get on board and recognize that this business model and this is a much better way for drivers, riders, and frankly for cities as well.
Yeah, I guess their concern is like a safety concern, right? They say they can't verify insurance, they can't verify safety for drivers, but I guess you're saying that's not really your side of the business, right?
Yeah, so drivers that use Empower, they understand that some riders, might be hesitant to book rides from drivers that haven't been subject to a background check. So, as a result, drivers, they all agree to provide the results of a background check that is conducted by one of the largest providers of such checks to Empower as part of the terms and conditions of their software and services agreement that they enter into with the company. I don't think the DFHV probably has provided you with any evidence that drivers using Empower are any way less safe than those drivers that drive for or on behalf of Uber and Lyft. In fact, I think the evidence is to the contrary, that the drivers who are choosing to drive for themselves in competition with Uber and Lyft, who want to build their own business, pursue the American dream, that those drivers, in fact, are arguably potentially safer. There's certainly been no evidence presented to the contrary. So, again, we're happy to work with the Department of For-Hire Vehicles or anyone else to ensure that any regulations that they think individual drivers who want to compete with Uber and Lyft should be subject to, that they're in compliance with those regulations. What we don't agree with is the notion that some of the hardest working people, in the city and in this country, who come from all over the world to escape terrible oppression and want to pursue the American dream, that they should be forced to work for or on behalf of anybody, let alone being forced to work for or on behalf of Uber and Lyft. And the fact of the matter is those companies are powerful companies. Uber is raised tons and tons of money. And the reality is that the DFHVs basically is on Uber's payroll. A huge percentage of their budget comes from Uber. So it's not really a surprise that they, don't want drivers to be able to drive for themselves and have a better financial future. So that's where we're at.
That's a good explanation. So where do you see it going from here, Josh? I mean, specifically, I know you're not just in DC, you're in other cities too. So where do you see ultimately your business going from here? Are you expanding? What's happening?
Yeah, so we have a presence. There are drivers who are using Empower software and services in Winston-Salem and Greensboro, North Carolina. There's a very small number who are using our software and services in New York City as well. We've been growing. We continue to grow. As I said, nearly, drivers using Empower's software and support provided close to 200,000 rides last month. We want that. We want to be able to provide drivers with the tools, that they need to build and run their business and provide a better future for themselves. And we want to, obviously expand more and more here in DC as well as into other markets.
Cool. That's all I needed. I appreciate that. I will tell you, you'll like this. So when we were downtown and we were doing our thing where we hailed a driver and talked to him, there was this guy and I asked him, I was like, what do you think about that? He's like, they're entrepreneurial. He's like, they're doing what Uber did a long time ago. Uber took the first swipe. They're just finding a different way to do it. So I will tell you that we're including that soundbite from a commuter as well. So I don't want you to think that this is, a negative piece altogether. I'm just trying to present all the facts. And I want you to know. So, listen, I really appreciate it, Josh. This is going to be on tonight. I can send you guys the time when it's going to be on Channel 4, and then I can send you a link afterwards if you like.
Yeah, is it possible that you can send me sort of what clip you are planning on using from me so that I can, hopefully it's complete and not a snippet that,
I'll tell you the soundbite that I heard from you that I thought was the most interesting is the one where you were talking about how you think some of your drivers are actually safer than Uber drivers and that people are, who's to say that they can't pursue their own, America. I don't know word for word.
Sure, absolutely. I think
that's the one. And I think I also have to explain that you guys see yourself as a not a transportation service, but as a software service.
Yeah, no, that would be great. I mean, I think it would also be great if it's possible to make clear that, again, drivers have provided over 4 million rides using the platform to over 200,000 riders in the DC area.
Right. So that was a point that I was going to put in. You said that that's been over the last couple of months, or that's total?
So since over the last 3 years, drivers have provided over 4 million rides to over 200,000 riders. Thousands of drivers have provided those rides to over 200,000 riders in the DC area. And in recent months, drivers are providing nearly 200,000 rides per month.
200,000 rides per month?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's probably about 5% of all the rides in the district.
Empower says recently there have been over 2,000 trips per month.
200,000.
200,000 trips per month using its platform.
Correct.
Okay.
Nearly 200,000.
Yeah,
it's not quite 200,000.
Hey, you're the one that's saying it, so I'm saying Empower says. So there you go. Yeah, man. So thanks for your help. Really appreciate it. I think it's important that you get your voice in this, and I'll let you know when it's going to be on tonight.
Absolutely. Sounds good. I appreciate it. Thanks, Adam.
And I always cover transportation, so if you ever have anything you want to do or you go out and show whatever, happy to do it.
Absolutely. I'd love to grab a drink sometime and, whatever. We can have more, if you've got other questions about other aspects of the business, happy to chat.
Yep, I think it's fascinating. All right, Josh, take care, bud.
All right, thank you, Adam.
Bye-bye.
All right, bye.